Hey everyone, it is Finn here. Hope you're all doing super well, and the Premier League is finally back, which means my Premier League predictions are back every single week, where I predict each fixture for the Premier League and Matchweek 1 predictions today. I am so excited. The beginning of a brand new Premier League season. Literally anything can happen at this point and it's impossible to predict it all. But you know what? I will try my best, and if you haven't seen my Premier League table prediction video, I'll put it up in the eye thingy up above and in the description down below. And of course, if you enjoy weekly Premier League predictions, please do consider subscribing to this channel. Channel's been a bit slow in terms of subscribers lately, and I would really appreciate your help. Getting into our first prediction of this brand new Premier League season, we are starting off strong with a game between Fulham and Arsenal. Now, obviously you would assume Arsenal have to be the strong favourites in this fixture, but I'm not too sure. I've said this many times before in the previous seasons, and in this season I'll say it again. Arsenal probably the most unpredictable team in the Premier League in terms of results. Looking at them last season, they're the kind of team that can beat Man City and Liverpool within the same week and then go ahead and lose to Aston Villa. You never know what to expect from Arsenal, and of course the big talking points of them this new Premier League season is, will they improve their defence? Now, transfer-wise, they have brought in a few youngsters along with a few other players like Gabriel from Lille in the centre-back position, who has potential to do a solid job, but I think we're going to have to wait a few weeks to see if they are game-changing defenders. But until then, I do think Gabriel could do a solid job, but I do still think Arsenal will concede in this fixture. I think Arsenal will get a win, and I think Arsenal will win 2-1 against Fulham. I do think Fulham will score, especially with the likes of Mitrovic in the striker position, getting 26 goals in the Championship last season. He looked solid, but it's a matter of converting those goals into Premier League goals, where 2 seasons ago in the Premier League, he only managed about 10 or 11 Premier League goals. So you know what, if he can improve off of the Championship last season, I think he'll score, but I still think Arsenal will win. And in terms of a player to watch, it's probably going to be Aubameyang. I mean, I could go for a random guess like Willian or Pepe or someone like that, but the most reliable player to watch has to be Aubameyang, proving he's a 20-goal-a-season striker. I just have to go for him. Second game of this new Premier League season is going to be between Crystal Palace and Southampton. Now, I do just want to quickly apologize for how dark my face is. My ring light is still traveling from my old house, so I promise you my light will be here for my next video and light up my face a tiny bit. But yes, Crystal Palace and Southampton. Looking at this fixture, Crystal Palace have not won this fixture since 2018 in January, so the beginning of 2018. So obviously they are not the favourites in this fixture. But looking at Crystal Palace, both of their main centre-backs are back from injury, which of course was a huge reason to why they struggled last season, especially once football returned and they didn't have their main centre-backs. They really did struggle, and I think defensively they'll look a lot stronger this Premier League season. Another big bonus for Crystal Palace is Wilfried Zaha apparently is looking really good and really in form in pre-season, scoring some beautiful goals and really creating some good link-up play. And I think the biggest factor for Crystal Palace in this game will be their brand new attacking midfielder Easy from QPR. 14 goals and 8 assists from last season in the Championship. I think probably going to be my player to watch in this game, not because he'll score a goal or get an assist, but because he'll create some beautiful link-up play and I think really transition the ball from defense to attack. My prediction for this game will be a 2-1 in Crystal Palace's favour. Nothing bad against Southampton. Ings obviously in attack. Incredible season last season, but Shea Adams does need to start scoring more, and they've literally sold like 3 of their best midfielders to other Premier League opponents, and until they replace those midfielders, I am going to have to give Crystal Palace the win on this one. West Ham United versus Newcastle United. Now, looking at West Ham United in terms of scoring goals, I think it all depends on whether Mikel Antonio can continue his form from last season. Looking at Antonio, he was the top scorer in the Premier League last season since football continued after lockdown. He hit a beautiful purple patch. But bar that, I'm still going to go for Newcastle United with the win in this, funnily enough. I'm going to give Newcastle United a 2-1 win in this fixture, because looking at West Ham, as I mentioned, it does kind of depend goal scoring wise on Antonio, but other than that there aren't many other attacking players that have hit form recently, mainly looking at Anderson in the wing and Halle in the striker position. Big money signings that have not performed for this team, and it is very disappointing. Where if you look at Newcastle United, they have just bought some incredible attackers attackers, with Hendricks from Burnley in the right wing position, Wilson in the striker from Bournemouth, and Fraser from Bournemouth in the left wing position. These are players that, although it's not the takeover money that Newcastle United wanted, these are still very solid players who, if they click and hit their top form, they can be very solid for Newcastle United. Not to even mention Lewis from Norwich in the left back position. I think with signings like this, Newcastle United look very, very solid, and they should get a comfortable win versus West Ham. And my player to watch, probably going to be Ryan Fraser, because although not a fantastic season for Bournemouth last season, 2 seasons ago he was one of the top assist makers in the Premier League, and if he hits form with Wilson in the striker position, I do see him being a player to watch. The next game is going to be a game between champions, Liverpool at Anfield versus Leeds. Winners of the Premier League versus winners of the Championship. Now, looking at Liverpool, no, they have not been busy this transfer window. I mean, they've just gotten a backup left back, but you know, at the same time, they don't need to improve too much with their squad. Both of their fullbacks, easily the best fullbacks in the world. Best goalkeeper, best centre-back, 2 of the best wings in the world. Liverpool are looking so strong, and I don't see Leeds United standing that big a chance. I know Leeds United used to be a super powerful club, but they haven't been in the Premier League for 16 years, and I don't see them just bouncing back to the Premier League. But you know what? I do see it being a very dignifying 2-1 win to Liverpool. I don't see it being an absolute slaughter of Leeds United, but I don't see them having too much of a chance. Considering their top striker, Rodrigo, their brand new striker from Valencia, only got about a handful of goals last season. I mean, look, they have potential to surprise, but I do think Liverpool probably going to be the strong favourites in this. And my player to watch, I think it's just going to end up being a Liverpool player, and there are just so many players it could be. But you know what? I'm just going to go for the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold. From last season, he had an incredible season, 13 assists and 4 goals from the right back position. Probably going to be an interesting player to watch. West Brom versus Leicester is next. Now, looking at West Brom, they've got quality throughout their entire pitch. Of course, they got Pereira on a permanent deal from Sporting Lisbon. They just got Cedric Kepa from Wigan in the centre-back position, who looks like he could do a solid job. They've got John Stone in the goalkeeper position. Look, it goes without saying they've got quality in their team. Obviously, they got promoted from the Championship, and you do need some sort of quality to be able to do that. But whether that quality is Premier League quality, I'm not too sure about that, and that is why I have to go for Leicester City in this prediction. I am going to give Leicester City a 2-0 win just because I think Leicester are probably the strong favourites, but Leicester City also unpredictable at times. Of course, beginning of last season, if they play like that, they are unstoppable, but towards the end of the season, they fell off hard. They're not even in a Champions League spot anymore, and I think Leicester City just fell way too fast, way too hard, and hopefully they don't do that again this season. Of course, a huge talking point is they don't have Chilwell in the left back position, but they probably still will do a decent job versus West Brom. And player to watch, probably Jamie Vardy. Goes without saying, top scorer in the Premier League last season, lots of pace behind him, and at the end of the day, I think the pace of this entire Leicester City team is going to be the downfall of West Brom. The next game is probably the biggest game in this entire match week, and it will be Spurs versus Everton. Spurs obviously have a point to prove off of last season, where they only ended the table in 6th place after threatening to compete for the title, where Everton, not a good season, but with a high-profile manager like Carlo Ancelotti, you can only expect big signings, and that is exactly what he's brought in. He has just gotten 3 world-class midfielders for Everton, with Allen from Napoli, James Rodriguez from Real Madrid, and Doucouré from Watford, who, it's a bold statement, but I'll say it, one of the best midfields in the Premier League if they click and work well together. And that is why I'm going for a shock result of a 2-1 win in Everton's favour, because if this midfield works out, they will be unstoppable. And looking from Spurs' point of view, I really do think they still need a creative playmaker in the midfield if they want to beat the likes of a team like Everton. I do think Spurs is a good team, good midfield, good attack, good defense. Obviously, Harry Kane, when he is fit and in form, he is unstoppable, but they still need a player like Christian Eriksen in the midfield who can string perfect passes together. Spurs, a very good team, but they still need that creative playmaker. And looking at Everton, especially with those 3 midfielders, if you look up front with Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin, if they get balls provided from the back from these midfielders, they will just continue getting better and better. And in terms of a player to watch, my player to watch will be James Rodriguez, because I think a team like Everton will really benefit him in terms of growing as a player, where if you look at him at Real Madrid, I think Real Madrid's a team to go at if you are world class and want to stay world class, but not necessarily improve if you're a high potential player. Where Everton, I do see James Rodriguez really growing as a player, and I think he will be the player to watch. Second last prediction is Brighton versus Chelsea, which I'm very excited for this fixture because there are a lot of really good new signings from both teams when you look at this fixture. If you look at Brighton, I think Lallana will do a lot for them in the midfield position. He did a solid job for Liverpool for so many years, and I think he can do that at Brighton. And right back position, they just got Veltman from Ajax, who was one of the best right backs in the league, and he looks like a solid right back option for Brighton. And of course in the centre back position, they were able to keep hold of Dunk and Duffy, and now they have Ben White, who has returned from loan from Leeds, who did a solid job. I think Brighton could look strong, but unfortunately not against Chelsea. Chelsea have just bought some of the best players in the world, about 6 world-class players at once. Just to name a few, of course, Ziyech, Timo Werner, Havertz, Silva, Chilwell. They are looking so unstoppable, and I can't see Brighton, no matter how good their new signings are, competing with Chelsea. And unfortunately, I do think Chelsea will dominate with a huge 4-1 win. It's going to be a bit embarrassing, but I do think Chelsea really dominating this, and probably one of the new players are going to be the player to watch, obviously. Probably Timo Werner, as he was unstoppable in the Bundesliga last season, but you know, it could be any of the new signings. We now get to the last prediction of this brand new Premier League season of Matchweek 1, and it will be between Sheffield United and Wolves. Now yes, I know I haven't predicted a lot of teams, but that's because a lot of teams aren't playing in Matchweek 1 of the Premier League, because they have been postponed to later dates due to European competitions. So I'm sorry if I haven't predicted your team, but Sheffield United versus Wolves is the last one for this Matchweek 1. Now I think the big question is, can Sheffield United replicate their success from last season? I think they could potentially be successful, but they won't be as good as last season. And I think a big problem will be attacking wise. I think they do need a proper talisman, a proper goal scorer who can really rack up the goals. But defensively, of course, that is where Sheffield United is strong. But I do think Wolves will get a 2-1 win over Sheffield United. They just got Ethan Ampadu in the centre-back position at Sheffield, and they just got Ramsdale in the goalkeeper position, who, yes, of course, very good, very solid goalkeeper. I love Aaron Ramsdale. But on the other hand, he's not Dean Henderson. I don't think he'll replicate what Dean Henderson did between the posts for Sheffield last season, and that is why I'm going for Wolves. Especially if you look at Wolves' attack, I don't see them not scoring against Sheffield United. Jota, Jimenez and Adama Traore going to look unstoppable. The only factor that I am worried for Wolves is the fact that they don't have Doherty in the right back position anymore, but I do still think that they could perform, and I think the player to watch will be Adama Traore, not because he'll score a lot of goals, but because I think his physical element will play a big part in this fixture. So guys, that is it for my match week predictions. Once again, sorry if I didn't predict your team, it's just because they're not playing in this match week then. And guys, don't forget, if you are new to this channel and you do enjoy my content, please do consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. As I said, channel's been a bit slow and I do want to reach 850 subs very soon. But yes, the Premier League is finally back. A lot of exciting results, and literally match week 1, anything can happen from this point. But guys, this has been Finn. Subscribe if you have enjoyed, like the video if you have enjoyed. Finn, F-Y-N-N. Stay awesome. Love every single one of you. Cheers.